Hi everyone, my name is Mikael Rydle, and today I am joined by Alex Stoica, CEO of Mendy, for an inside look into the company's strong performance, new product innovations, and what's ahead in 2025. Welcome, Alex.
Hi, Mikael. Thank you for having me and creating this platform to talk about Mendy and all the cool things that we're working on.
Mendy's headset measures your brain activity through a unique combination of features, including blood flow and oxygenation in the prefrontal cortex. Think of it as measuring fuel in your brain's control center. Your brain activity is then visualized in a training game, a game you control using only your brain. When you focus properly, oxygen and nutrients flow to your prefrontal cortex and the waves will rise. By rewarding you with positive feedback, the training conditions you to increase energy to your brain's control center. Over time, you strengthen the muscles that control and run your entire brain.
And well, let's start by talking about where Mendy got started. Maybe you could give us a little story, background story.
Yeah, of course. Even before the global shift brought on by COVID-19, the founding team at Mendy saw a clear gap. But while stress, distraction, cognitive fatigue were rising, most people had no accessible way to train their brains or build long-term mental resilience. That brain training element was either confined in neurofeedback clinics or position for elite performance or people that were in the biohacking movement with little availability for everyday people who simply wanted to focus better, stay more centered and feel in control. Mendy was started with a mission to change that. The product was launched in April 2020 on a Kickstarter campaign.
Right.
And that validated the demand and it built a strong early community of backers and users who share that vision.
Right. And how many backers were they on Kickstarter or the crowdfunding platform?
Yeah, I would say that right after releasing the campaign, I think it generated over 6,000-7,000 pre-orders in just a few weeks. Wow. And then that one progressed and it reached up to 10,000 pre-orders. Okay. And it was the most successful one in Sweden's history, and I think it is still to date. And it was even classified as the #1 in brain health. And since then as well, we're seeing a lot of awareness around focus, emotional regulation, and mental clarity, which has only accelerated, like especially in the post-COVID era. Right. And right now, Mendy is used in over 50 plus countries. We have over 65,000 users who have access to a tool that is designed to support consistent mental training through gamified sessions and trackable progress. And that experience helps build habits around focus, mood regulation, stress management, like overall being, and all of which form the foundation for what we're building next. It's personalized, data-informed journeys tailored to each user needs.
Okay. So, Alex, Mendy's revenue for Q1 had tripled from last year. So it went from 4.2 million SEK to 15.4. What attributed to that?
We saw a very strong growth by narrowing our focus. So the results that we're seeing in 2025, it's from the deliberate decision that we lean into early 2024 when we doubled down on our core market, which is the US, which is both the largest and most engaged market. So instead of stretching across multiple regions, we lean into where we already had the traction, and that shaped our messaging, product development, community engagement. Yeah, I would say that it's about focus, both for our users and for our business. And that clarity serve let us serve them better. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, people talk more about the product, they engaged more. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very strong start of the year. And
But you also had 6 consecutive months of profitability, so you're cash flow positive consistently for the first time in the company's history. So how were you able to achieve both those goals in the past year?
Yeah, I mean, we build with discipline. So every part of the, yeah, let's call it system. I mean, from sourcing, fulfillment, marketing, user onboarding, everything is meant to scale efficiently. We stayed lean, we focus on user outcome, and we build in a way that the results are being consistent. And we see as well, I would say that it's even a reflection of product market fit and operational maturity. And profitability is just a result of that foundation.
With that, the cash position has improved significantly. So how does that set you up for the rest of the year?
I mean, it is very, very beneficial for us, especially that it means that we're not reacting under pressure. And it gives us a lot more strategic headroom. We can invest in long-term, I would even call it like more forward-looking R&D, where we can set up their infrastructure. We can focus on, yeah, not just growth, but as well like we're like investing for resilience. And yeah, we're big as well, like less exposed to market volatility, which we're seeing as well a lot of shifts happening at a very high pace in the past 6 to 8 months.
And you know, the interesting part is when the company now is cash flow positive, then the financial institutes suddenly are very willing to lend you lots of or give you a lot of credit, which is obviously a very good position to be in. But how's that support you now in your growth, your growth phase that you're heading into?
Yeah, I would say that again, I think it's a signal that we're entering a more mature operating phase. So we're moving a bit from equity-based financing, and we're using tools like a described credit or to support scale without dilution. So that's healthy for us and for our shareholders. And it gives us the ability to move fast, like on inventory part, and as well like taking some actions on the expansion without compromising control. And it reflects confidence in the fundamentals and a commitment to long-term value creation.
And you mentioned the US being Mendy's largest market. You've been in the last 6 months working on setting up a US subsidiary, even before the tariff discussions came about. But tell us about the status on that and how far you've come, and when do you see that the US subsidiary would be up and running?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we're seeing as well, even with the like uncertainty like around like the different jurisdictions. When it comes to business, I would say it's more of a proactive rather than reactive approach. And having a presence in the US has helped us get closer to our customers, and not just physically through the logistics element, but as well strategically. Because we're operating locally, we're being more agile and more responsive, and that allows us to fulfill faster, which is going to trickle down into customer satisfaction, and we can be more responsive, like especially on the experience for a US-based audience. But it also, there's another part, which is that it will unlock as well like new partnership. So like either like if we're talking about like maybe retail or the workplace integrations, being being on the ground builds the credibility and then the reach as well. So I would say that it's a foundational move for us to.
So this growth that you're now experiencing, how are you preparing operationally to support and maintain delivery quality?
Yeah, scaling hardware is complex. It's not like pushing a software update or like being able to release or so it's very, so we're taking again a series of proactive approaches, and that's from expanding capacity, doubling down on quality assurance processes. I mean, the goal is to scale smoothly without disruptions. So we're building stability before the pressure hits, and that's like, especially when it's the high peak periods, especially like Q4, and that will allow us to grow responsibly, but to protect the user experience at every stage, as that is high priority for us.
And now, as you are entering the second half of the year, what are the 3 top priorities for the business?
Our focus is clear. So we're having the strengthening of our US operation to meet the growing demand. There's as well a lot that we have in the pipeline when it comes to key features, and so we're working around the clock to finalize and ship those on to our users. And again, we need to maintain the profitability while building the infrastructure around the expansion that we have ahead of us. So it's about scaling smart without losing the clarity.
Right. So, and then what does long-term sustainable growth look like for Mendey? Where do you want to be by the end of 2025?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I mean, sustainable growth, I would say that's a way of balancing the profitability element, but as well with purpose. So we're not just trying to scale as fast as possible, just for getting kind of the headlines, but we want to build something that actually it's going to be long term, and then as well we want to build as close as possible to our users. Because by the end of 2025 we should be at about around like 8,000 users, and we will be on our path to reaching a big milestone, and that's going to be our first 100,000 users. And we want Mendey to be recognized globally as the go-to platform for mental fitness brain training. So it's going to be a trusted, science-informed tool that fits into people's daily lives.
Yeah. Is there something you wish more people understood about Mendey as a product or its mission?
I would say it's important to highlight that we're not just selling a hardware. We're building a long-term behavioral platform around mental performance, something that didn't really exist in a meaningful consumer-facing way until now. So Mendey is designed to sit there at the intersection of science, accessibility, and habit building. So while neurofeedback as a concept has been around for decades, I mean, we made it intuitive and actionable for everyday users. People who want to build sharper focus, emotional balance, and resilience over time. And we're seeing as well the trend right now, longevity biohacking is becoming more and more mainstream. But I would say that it's not about just riding this one trend, but it's more about helping shape a new category. And mental fitness, it's going to be at the forefront. And we have an opportunity to lead that shift by building trust, outcomes, and daily relevance into everything we do.
Right. Well, Alex, that brings us to the end of this short interview. Thank you very much for the insights, and it's inspiring to see a company within your space that is not only innovating but also starting to execute at scale. So I wish you and the team at Mendy continued success, and we will keep following you, and we will probably talk to you in a couple of months again.
Perfect. Thank you so much for today.